Alrighty, so we basically have today the chin ramyun, these crackers, and of course we can't forget, a very healthy beverage right here. So Rich, why are you chomping down on this today? Well, first things first is, I did not realize that it's only 10:11 right now, but because of how cold the weather is out there, not a lot of people are out, so a lot of restaurants are actually closed. And unlike other places in Asia, if anybody knows how to order off of a food delivery app for foreigners in Korea, let me know. I can do it in Thailand off of Grab in Hong Kong. I can do it off of Keeta, Keeta. That thing was a freaking game changer. But I can't do it off of here. So I decided to go down to the convenience store today. And then also, let me just adjust this. I'm just doing it off of my MacBook right now. I wish you guys could actually see. I can't get the angle right. And I don't want to spill noodles on my MacBook. But anyways, nothing fancy here. But I haven't had this combo, minus the beer, since COVID. So we're going to go ahead and dig in. And while we're actually talking about this, let's just go ahead and talk about, today was not a bad day. Today I actually chomped down a few coaching calls. And chomped down a few coaching calls, had lunch, recorded some content, took a nap. Having said that, though, oh man, it hits the spot. Oh my gosh, that really does. Korean people really do have the best instant food. But what was I going to say? I hear so many people asking me about how to get a job. And I'm like, well, you need to get more interviews. And in order for you to get more interviews, you need to go out there and apply. All this sounds very basic, but people keep on asking me I think one of the saddest things as part of my job is actually just seeing how much inaction there is in the marketplace. Every time I ask people to do something, the first response that people have is why they shouldn't do it. And yet, it's for all those reasons why they're in the shitty situation that they're in right now. It's like, oh, you got to reach out. But there's just always some reason why they're not doing something. And for the life of me, I can't understand why there's just so much resistance. I think it's I don't know what it is, but I think it really comes down to a combination of laziness and people feeling that I'm going to do all that and nothing's going to come out of it, and I'm just going to be even more disappointed because I did all that and I didn't get what I want. And I was just thinking to myself, that's a pretty terrible outlook to have in the world, and they just get so angry at me, and I'm just like, I'm not here living my best life, bro. I just came back from spa land, I think the best sauna and the best spa in Asia probably. Nothing is gonna happen from your situation unless you take action and do something to change your situation. So when you don't have more interviews, the real problem is, and it's February right now, there's some people I was talking to back in December, The real problem is this: when you don't have interviews, you go into those interviews desperate AF, interviewing with hiring managers that are stressed AF, and your interview breaks down. Even though you might be extremely qualified for the job, they decide to go ahead and go with somebody else. You know, this one person that just enrolled in my program, she literally told me, that she stalks the companies of every position that she gets rejected from, and she always sees that they hired somebody with less experience than she has. And I'm like, why do you think it is? Why do you think it is? Right now, you have like so much volatility in the market, right? Something like DeepSeek can happen. Mental toughness is actually the most attractive trait, the most attractive skill that people that are looking to hire people, especially in tech, is looking for. So when you have something like DeepSeek that clears out 1 trillion, right, in value from the stock market, and it costs NVIDIA $600 billion or $500 billion, the last thing they need is somebody losing their freaking shit. And that's what people don't want to hear, is a lot of them don't seem like they're going to be fun foxhole buddies to be working with. They don't really seem like they're going to be cool people to go to war with. Because if I'm losing my shit as a hiring manager, and it seems like you've lost all mental common sense, why the frick would I go out there and hire you? I probably wouldn't, right? So then it comes down to this question. Rich, how do I feel good even though things are not going well in my life, in my job hunt, in my situation? Well, the first thing that you have to kind of acknowledge is, how do you want to feel about the situation? Don't you want to go in there confident? Don't you want to feel good? And I think a lot of people are going to go ahead and agree with me that they do. But how do I do that when things clearly are not going well for me right now? Well, here's basically how I drive confidence, even though things are not going well in my life or in my I'm not looking for a job, but as a business owner, things are going wrong almost all the time. And when things are going seriously right, not to sound negative, I'm just waiting for some shit to go down. And it's just a part of the game, you know, and every bad thing that's happened, even though I really wish it didn't happen, has largely been a positive. The way that I go ahead and navigate tough times is I think about this. I think about all the toughest times in my life, and I go back 10, 15 years, and how at the end of it, I always came out on the other side better, smarter, tougher. And I also think about during that time, how much I've grown and all the things that I'll try and how much tougher I got and how much smarter I got. And that actually there were a lot of things that I could have done that I didn't do. So the truth of the matter is, regardless of what's going on in your job hunt or in your situation, know this time's going to pass. It's going to be over. And you're going to look back and you're going to laugh at this. And when you look back at this time of how tough things were, you're going to be really proud of yourself. And you're going to realize something. There's a lot of things that like you could have done, but you just couldn't see it. And it was because you had to go through all of these different hurdles to be able to see it. There was just no way that at that stage in the mountain that you're climbing, you could have seen that other pathway. You just had to get from here to here to here, and you only had so much energy, and you were only able to climb so much. But eventually, you will get through it, and you got to tell yourself you're never going to allow yourself to be in this situation ever again. That's why you're going to work on developing your personal brand. And the other thing that you're also going to tell yourself is, this is a good thing of going through a tough time, because if you weren't going through a tough time, you wouldn't get tougher. you know, one of my friends asked me, like, why are like startup founders, why are we so good at solving problems? Because we're constantly being thrown problems, and it's a muscle that you really stretch. The Brits were the best at shipbuilding for a long time. They had a really badass navy, and that was because they were an island nation. They knew if anybody landed, it'd kind of be game over, so they had to go out there and build the largest fleet. Certain like conditions are going to go ahead and create a certain type of person, or like there's just certain advantages, disadvantages that people had. I mean, if the most available source of protein on an island is going to be chicken, you're probably going to be damn sure they do a really good job of cooking chicken. So you can come out on the other side. I deal with trolls all the time. What I say, I'm like, well, fuck yourself. You wish you made as much money as me. They're like, but. I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I deal with trolls, I deal with haters, I deal with whiners, I deal with complainers. And then and then sometimes I'm just like, I think I have it so hard, and I take a little walk around the block, and I'm like, actually, no, these people around, wherever it is that I travel to, because I'm kind of like in my digital nomad phase in life, they have it so much tougher than I do. And I wouldn't want to say anything's impossible, but for a lot of people that I have come across in my travels the last 6-7 months, their situation that they're in right now, honestly, is as good as it's ever going to get. I wouldn't say anything's impossible, but it's probably that's their situation, right? And it's kind of a sad thing. It's kind of horrible. It's pretty sad. So don't stay in the negative. Work on being in the positive. The easiest way is to be a part of a community. I run several schools right now online, online school communities, SKOOL. And if you're looking for a product manager job or a tech sales job or cybersecurity job, or you're in the job hunt, like for one of those 3 verticals, then by all means come through. And if not, Boss School, which is me showing people how to monetize their personal brand, that thing's in YouTube, in the YouTube description. But don't suffer alone, and ask yourself this. Wow, this is spicy. I got the spicier one, the red one instead of the blue one. How do you want to go ahead and feel at the end of the day? And I don't think a lot of people enjoy feeling defeated. I don't think a lot of people enjoy feeling sad. I don't think a lot of people enjoy feeling mad. I don't think people enjoy feeling bad. That's a little poem right there we got, right? You'd rather go ahead and actually have a better life. Let's go ahead and win together. It's actually not that difficult. You're only one application or one interview away from getting your next job. You're always just one conversation away from just, making that next thing happen. I'm in a group coaching mastermind with other coaches. Like, for people that's like, I have a lot of friends that are dating coaches. They're like, you're always just one conversation away from the next person you're probably going to marry. And they coach a lot of people that feel like, oh, it's over. I'm never going to find anybody. It's just like, well, do you want to die alone? Some people have made peace with that. Seems like that's not the route you want to go down. Well, see you in school. Don't be late to school.